Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Blah, where we are, instead of a terrible trio, we are merely a dynamic duo tonight. We have Hollywood McShane, of course,
Hello.
behind the scenes and on screen, live and juicy. Kenny is off working. He does a pre-match thing at St. James's Park, for those of you what have not know. And we still wanted to make sure that we got a Blah in time for you, those of you that want to watch the football, who've been pleading with us all week saying, don't do a half past on Tuesday night, please. And after the United States game, where we were all just dumbstruck at how poorly England played, this is the last chance England have to really make any serious impression on us, because we thought with the Iran game, we're on to something good, as Peter Noon once said for Money with Herman's Hermits, but it was not to be. USA played England off the park. So if you're a Welsh fan, Yaki Da, good luck in all of that. If you're an England fan, expecting better tonight. But we will see, and we will be out the way in time for you all to settle down and have your snacks. But remember, save some snacks for tomorrow night, because we've got something extra special coming up tomorrow. I think together we will solve a crime tomorrow. That's what I think. Tell you more about that a little bit later on. First of all, let's go down our list, as we always do, from it was a talky thing really last week, and I'm just hoping that people liked it, Tony.
Yeah, people, loved it and wanted to do more of those, especially doing the phone in. I mean, we had a few people on, didn't we? So we can obviously promise to do one before Christmas,
We are
where
doing
everyone can get involved and just talk about anything. We need to do one of those. So
we want to do, it's kind of like a dip a toe in the water of us doing Night Owls ourselves. We know it was a radio phenomenon for donkey's years, and we would like it to become, if it is humanly possible, we will make it happen, that it becomes one of these things, a digital technology-fied sensation too. So we will spread our owly wings around the world and see what we can do. Speaking of yesterday and speaking of night owls, it was announced, I don't know whether you heard earlier this week, that somebody that did night owls for a couple of years, James Whale, has been announced that he is suffering from terminal cancer. So I've already sent my love, and I hope you guys will too, to him and his partner. And we wish him as much luck and as much joy as he can squeeze into however long he's got left. He's took it on the chin, and he's dealing with it, in my opinion, as well as anybody could. And good luck to him and all the best. Now, if you have any questions, of course, rain them upon us. I've got just one or two things to get out the way. And then, as always, the Blah is really down to you guys. Usually, if we do a ghost hunt, we'll get what you've seen, what you felt, what you thought. We always want that. We always want your opinions. But Phil lives in a place called Botcherby. Now, Botcherby is a sizable estate just on the outskirts of Carlisle. I thought when I said Botcherby, Tony suddenly appeared, and I thought, he must know something about Botcherby. And then as soon as he got in, he disappeared again.
I pressed the wrong button. That's what happened.
Okay, well, Botcherby is a sizable estate in between Carlisle city centre and Carlisle's one of their big industrial parks. And he sent me a little note that I've printed off, and he says, Alan, there's a story about a highwayman that's supposed to have operated around here, the Botcherby area. Do you know anything about him? Well, the answer swiftly was, not really. Yes, I'm aware that highwaymen were all over the place up here, because we were the Wild West of its day. We were the bit between Scotland and England. We were the edge of the border where things tended to be rougher. However, I have subsequently found out that the man's name was Whitfield. He was a highwayman, and he was a particularly nasty one. He was a highwayman who didn't just rob, but he did a bit of killing too, with two flintlock pistols. And he was eventually arrested. He was tried in Carlisle, and he was hanged for murder on a crossroads. Now, that crossroads was originally on the old A6 before we had A roads, the road that became the A6. Now, the A6 later on would move just slightly that way and become the M6. But the A6, where it was, and if you live in Botcherby, you'll know this because it's probably a local supermarket. There's a big Tesco's and there's a Tesco petrol station just outside, as there tends to be. Closer to the M6 a little than the Tesco's, that's where Whitfield was hanged. Now, the story of his ghost and his spirits, fairly straightforward. When they were hanging Whitfield on the crossroads closest to where he committed all of his crimes, they didn't do a very good job of tying the rope. So after they left him hanging, he passed out, but he didn't die. He was just hanging there, and the rope hadn't kind of fastened in the way that they're supposed to fasten. The actual noose hadn't been tied properly. So he's hanging there on the gallows. His hands are tied behind his back, and he's moaning and he's whining. About 18 hours after that, so you can imagine how much pain he went through in 18 hours. About 18 hours later, a coachman is riding by, heading into Carlisle, presumably from somewhere like Newcastle. Could have been Hexham. But that road, I think it's called Rotary Way, if memory serves. Coach is coming along, and of course, the people in the coach say, oh, what's this? Stop, coachman, stop, coachman. And the coachman stopped to take a look at this man in the last few gasps of dying. And they realized that he was still alive, and he was begging for help. Help me, help me, help me. Well, the coachman had been robbed on a few occasions by highwaymen and knew that this guy was a highwayman. So he got out a small Derringer-style pistol, walked across to where the body was hanging, and it wasn't hugely high up. He stood on the small wall next to where the gallows was, like a stone brick wall. He stood on it, leant up, put the pistol to the highwayman's head, and blew the top of his head off and killed him. Now, the ghost is said to walk in that area regularly and sometimes seen by motorists and what have you. And if you are on foot and you should see this figure, the figure is supposed to be bent over and is saying, help me, over and over and over again. That's the story of the nearest ghost I could find to where you are, Phil. So thanks for asking the question. Happy to help. If any of you guys have got other questions, I'll not necessarily answer it right now, but I'll do a bit of research for you and have a look. Or if we're ever going to be in your neck of the woods, I'd love to do a Carlisle. Carlisle would be cool. If you ever do a ghost hunt, you'll hear the story from where it happened. You'll be able to have a look at where we are too. So fingers crossed for that. And also, I want to say an apology to you all as well, because on Sunday, I put out what's happening this week and what's happening tonight and all the rest of it. I do a little bit of a video and I bang it out to you guys. And you've been very, very kind about them. I'll keep doing that then because you seem to be happy with them. Problem was, I received a Facebook message from one of you guys saying, you've just put out 2 new specials on robsonsworld.com, my website, and I've tried to download the new conspiracy theory file, which covers a load of different conspiracies all merging into one another. It's an amazing bit of work, and it will make you cry, guaranteed. And it says, I've downloaded it, and I'm not going to tell you the name of the one that he got instead, but it's an absolute stunner that we haven't released yet. And looking at my list, it's not due for at least another fortnight, this thing. So I said, well, just keep that and enjoy it. Hope you do. I'll sort it all out and I'll get you a fresh one. So that's what we did. It took us about 3 or 4 hours to turn it around. There was a fault on the server. We had it fixed. It's done. We got them all out. And then a little bit after that, somebody came on and said, Alan, the thing that you've just said is available on robsonsworld.com. I'm trying to download it, but it says that it's out of stock. Well, we made it out of stock until we fixed the fault. So that was the two things put together. The other special that we put on is another amazing thing. Amazing, if for anything, by the fact, because it's the vile atrocities of the Red Army during World War II. It's a series of war crimes, hundreds of war crimes that never were punished. Never punished. And the whole thing is horrific. I know it was against the German people. And at the time, the whole world were disgusted by what happened in Germany and surrounds with the death camps. But what the Russians came in and did was unbelievable. And we've actually managed to get audio of a Russian soldier who witnessed what the other Russians were doing. And he was disgusted, sick to his stomach. But he tells the story and it will make you want to weep. It's disgusting. So if you're into the dark side, it's what we do. It's what we specialize in. So and I want to say a big thank you to Marie. Marie said that about 6 or 7 years ago, as an anniversary present, her husband took her to Niagara Falls. And of course, just a fortnight ago, we put out the Native American curse of Niagara Falls. And she got hold of that. She said, brought back loads of memories. She knew exactly where I was as I was talking my way around the place. And she also said that the highlight for her, as much as all of the stories were great, was the music, Native American music. She said, I would have paid double just for the music. Fantastic. We try and dress our specials well. And because it was a Native American curse, it was a no-brainer. Let's dip into the amazing music that nobody else ever plays. And there it was. So that was pretty much all of my news. But thanks again, Marie, for your kindness. Glad you liked it. The whole point of me doing this is so that you guys get a kick out of really, really cool things. And I'll try and keep the kettle boiling as much as I can. Still got loads to edit from yesterday, from the past. I'm putting them together now and adding little bits here and there. And then we'll start doing some more new ones. I've done a couple of fresh ones just over the last week or so. So get ready. There's a lot more coming your way. And we'll keep releasing a couple of weeks as best we can. But, of course, tomorrow night, ghost hunting, and it's a cracker. But if you've got any questions, please get in touch. Oh, there's Sean. Loved last week's show. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Sean. Glad that you liked it. Top man. And the thing with stuff like that is we will talk a little bit about some of the ghostly things that we've done, but we're always wanting your ghost stories, your experiences, things you believe, things you don't believe. If you've heard a good story about something, let us know about it. If you see something in the newspaper or on Google or YouTube, talk us through it. Tell us what it is. We can't possibly capture everything for you. And if you spot something, we want to talk about that too. Kelly, are you still going to be doing the haunted house, Alan? Yes. Tomorrow night, we are doing a haunted house. And 2 distinct ghost stories attached to it. And it's in an area where there are 2 other massive stories that are well documented. One of them about an industrial dispute. Let's put it that way. I just don't want to give you too many clues because you're too good at finding out all of these places where we go. But it's going to be an interesting one. If you've got any questions, and I know a lot of you aren't necessarily with me live because we're on early and you probably weren't expecting us. But if you have any questions, those of you that are looking in, feel free to share.
What time tomorrow? David's asking. Question. I would say between 8 and 9. 9 latest, 8 earliest. but
8 earliest, 9 the latest.
yeah, it just depends on certain things. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I couldn't answer that question anyway because tomorrow's timings are a fluctuate. They're flying in the wind. So, but we'll have it nailed, and hopefully it'll be blitzingly good. So for the rough mix tomorrow, 8:30, 9 o'clock. Have a little look. Worst case scenario, of course, if you do tune in and we've started live, can they watch from the beginning or do they have to just join
I
us
think
live?
on YouTube you can, but not on Facebook. So
Right.
yeah, you just got to watch where we're up to. But when it finishes, you can go back. But obviously, if we're doing 2 hours, then it's a long time to wait.
No, absolutely. I understand. I wish we could be more specific with a time, but we've got a timing issue tomorrow that we have to overcome somehow. But we will. We'll make that happen. And it's going to be an interesting one tomorrow because this is probably, and I mean probably, the spookiest haunted house in Britain. This guy is not to be
And we've got to
underrated.
get through the cows apparently as well. So
if you just want to see Tony scream like a girl, that's probably
I'll
going
be
to do it.
facing the camera at you and Kenny running away from the cows. So it'll be one or the other.
I don't
Would
know
you do?
how to become such an issue, but yeah, they seem to have. Anyway, what's that, Joe?
What would you do? A live regression from Mars?
No, no, not really, because if I regress somebody live because of and this sounds arrogant, I don't mean it to, the power of my voice could regress other people and I would not be there to get them out of it. So it's an issue. It's not hypnosis. Everybody's completely awake, but I could get you people at home into a state, and the legalities of it I don't even want to comprehend. I would regress somebody to a certain point. I would get them under and then go live. I could do that. If you know what I mean. Get them to where the thing is and then tip somebody a wing. Problem is, if there's somebody else in there with me operating the camera, I could knock them over as well. That is the difficulty. When we did regressions on the radio, it was just me and a microphone, and a person and one of you guys normally, and therefore the only person I could knock the legs out from under is the person sitting in the chair. So we couldn't do it live, other than once they are under, we could then show it, if you don't know, or then go live. It begs a few questions. And also, the thing that I've noticed is, out of all of the regressions that I've done, and I've probably done 120, 30, 40 maybe, I'm guessing, but it certainly feels that number. I have not been able to regress probably 8 or 9. Don't think it's in double figures, but it's the high single figures. And on one occasion, I couldn't regress a lady because she'd been raped in this life, not a previous life. But when you're going backwards, you take them backwards to moments of extreme importance. And when you're taking them back, if something like that's happened, they will automatically go there. And then they have to suffer everything that they suffered as if it was completely real, because it was real at the time. I would understand that and I would get them out of there immediately, wouldn't let them regress. So that regression, you wouldn't be allowed to see or hear in any case. And on the people that have not been able to regress, 2 suffered the loss of a child. One was a nasty motor accident. Another one, it was a cot death. And you don't want to take people back to those kind of memories. Sometimes memories in previous lives can be of death too. That's fair enough. But they're of things that we don't know. I regressed one person back and everybody said, well, that wasn't much of a regression. And it was actually possibly the best regression I ever did. But the reason that people didn't like it was because it was happy. Because in the regression, the woman didn't die. She got married. She had a fabulous honeymoon. She lived happily with a man. Nothing bad. People hated it because it wasn't dark and mysterious and spooky, and it didn't end up with somebody's boots facing north. You know what I mean? So you got to be careful when you do regressions, especially. I know television have dabbled with it on a couple of occasions, and they've had to record and re-record the same person 8 or 9 times to get like 10 minutes out of it. I've never done that. If I don't get it on the first go, I don't bother. I put it to bed. There's a good, in my opinion, there's a reason why they don't go back. But you got to remember, TV regressors hypnotize, and I don't because I'm not able to. I relax and put people at ease, and then do it. But you got to be a little bit careful about you're dealing with real people's real lives and the lives that they believe they've had previously. But it's the stuff that happens in this life you got to be careful of. If people have been assaulted or if they've had members of their family murdered and the like, opening those kind of doors isn't responsible. So don't do it. And don't go to that place where it would happen. Anyway, thank you for the question. Got heavier than I wanted it to be, but hey-ho. Anything else, Sento?
No, all looking good.
Good. Yeah. Clues tomorrow. I've made it easier.
Oh, one question.
Oh, hang on.
Just come in.
W. Hi, Alan. Hope all is well. Wondering if you know much history about Dilston land. Yes, the Devils of Divelston. There's a few stories around Dilston. I'm currently having odd experiences where I'm working on the site and also on the grounds. W, send details in of precisely where you are.
WhatsApp it, or text it, and then
to him.
I can forward it on.
He'll bang it on to me, and then next blah, I'll have a dig and see what it is. Well, absolutely. But also, yeah, if it's a site that you don't mind us being there on, we'll come and have a look. With respect to it, though, make sure that you tell us what you've experienced, and I'll see if there's any spiritual habnabs around there that remotely fits. If I don't know what if you're experiencing a ghost horse and I tell you about the ghost child, what's the point? If it's a ghostly horse or similar, if I can find anything horsey, I will. If I can't find anything horsey, I'll tell you. But if you're getting a certain thing, I will look for whatever's happening around there to see what the crack is. Just give us as much information about the place specifics that you can, if you're allowed to. I'll do the rest, W. Thank you very much. Right, the clues. Tomorrow night, we're out again. Between 8 and 9, we will be beginning. And if you've got any other questions, that's where you send them. So the clues are, the first one is, it was on the dance floor, Sophie. Okay, that's your first clue. I think even Tony's got that one because we must have interviewed Sophie a dozen times over the years. So it was on the dance floor, Sophie. And the second clue is, like someone's chances in hell. Like someone's chance in hell. Like someone's chance in hell. Put those two things together. It tells you what and who. Good luck. We'll talk to you tomorrow night in the rough mix. Whatever time we manage to get it kicked, it'll be happening tomorrow night. And thanks again for your support. Keep spreading the word. Have a look on robsonsworld.com if you can. We'd love you to get involved with all of that. It's very busy at the present moment, which is great news, and I thank you for that too. And until tomorrow night, from Hollywood McShane.
Good night. From
Kenny. And from me, Alan Robson. Good night. God bless you. Wish you well. Good luck if you're Welsh. Wales. Good luck. Heaven help England too. Catch you later. Take care. Bye-bye. Have a good night.